Today we're going to be playing the Greenbook, which is a board game that I developed that is designed to give you an idea of what the travel during the peak of segregation was like for Black Americans living in the United States. So just a quick history on the Greenbook. The Greenbook starts in the 1930s. The author is this individual right here, Victor Hugo. So in the Greenbook, keep in mind if you're a Black American traveling, especially throughout the South, you definitely run the risk of harassment, of being targeted, of becoming a victim, potentially losing your life. So the Greenbook was designed to let you know as a traveler which gas stations, restaurants, and hotels were friendly. And so when we see like Ashley's gas station, Elodie's restaurant, and the Sunset Inn, these were places that were not discriminatory. Maybe these places were black owned. For the most part, you could go into those establishments and feel comfortable. So the directions are outlined here. Summary of directions are on this particular page. And so what you need to do is figure out how you are going to make it from the starting point to your destination, which is down here. Your destination and your starting point is over here. You have a couple of days right here. We see day 1, we see day 2, day 3, we have day 4 and day 5. At these particular days, you are expected to stay at the hotel, rest for the night, and then go about your travel day. So this is the travel day for day 2 before you get to the hotel. Now, there are 2 versions of this game. This is game 2 and this is game 1. Game 1 is visually different simply because you are playing this game as a white American, so you do not see any of the green spaces, and those green spaces represent those establishments that are in the Green Book. Now, there are a couple of things that you need to take note of, certain rules. Here it says each space that you land on, that counts as a 1 hour of driving time. That's key. Try not to make it to a sundown space with more than 8.5 hours of travel time. So this is a sundown space here. We have one here. I believe they're before the hotel stays. So we see another one over here, and then here we have another one. So a sundown town laws. These were laws that basically are saying if you are not a white American, if you're a black American, you are not allowed to be out when the sun goes down. You need to be in, preferably, I guess, your home or in one of the hotels if you are somebody who is traveling. So this is going to be a push. You want to make it from the start of a day to the end of the day, but you need to make sure that you get to the sundown, past the sundown space, and you're in your hotel, and you do not have a travel time that exceeds the 8.5 hours of time that you are being asked to travel, which is stated right here. You have to make it within 8.5 hours. So I'm going to erase this and go to this one here. So when we're playing this one, you pretty much don't have any restrictions. It's fairly simple. Remember, 1 hour of travel time for every space that you land on. So if this is the starting point, I come over here, that's 1 hour. I stop at the gas station, go to the restaurant, I have a bathroom break, sundown town counts as 2 travel hours, and then I make it to this one here. So I have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've made it within 6. So the 8.5 hour time frame, I did not exceed it, and then I can go about the next day of travel. When you're playing as a black American, you have a couple of choices to make. Things are complicated from the start. First thing, you need to take a look at the information in this space here, and you are allowed to pick these particular items. So you can pick 7 out of the 10 items below to place in your trunk. And these things are designed to help you. For example, if you bring the coffee can, that means that instead of stopping at the bathroom, now you don't have to add this space because you are going to use the coffee can to relieve yourself if you need to use the restroom. If you take, what else do I have in here? Extra gas. That is going to allow you to skip this particular space, saving you 1 hour of travel time. The problem is you cannot take all 10. You need to figure out the 7 that you are going to take, and you need to circle those items here. You're going to just circle the ones that you're taking with you and then kind of going about, the next space. So now, as we have some idea of what the Greenbook's about, we can begin after we have selected the items. So the first space that we're going to move on is going to be the gas station. So we have 1 hour of travel time. And at this point, I need to make a decision. Am I going to look in the Greenbook and identify Bob or Ashley's? Let's just say Ashley's is in the Greenbook. Then that means I have 1 hour of travel time for here, but I veered off the road to go to Ashley's friendly gas station, which means I have to add another hour. So I've added 1 hour here, I've added 1 hour here, and I have a total so far of 2. Notice how it also says 20 minutes. I then need to travel back here, adding another hour. So my total travel time is 3 hours and 20 minutes. How did I come up with that? I added an hour here, I added an hour here, and then I added an hour to go back. I also have to calculate the 20 minutes. So at that point, I'm at 3 hours and 20 minutes. So at this point, if I decide not to use the Greenbook, we know it's an hour of space, so I would have 1 hour, 1 hour, 2 hours, and then another 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I have 8 hours and 20 minutes of travel time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I actually made it with the sundown town rule. So I'm basically running the risk. Now, if you're wondering, well, why would you ever use the Greenbook? Well, that's where you need to go to this particular chart here. Notice how you have to keep track of your travel time as I did before. What was I at? 8 hours and 20 minutes for day 1. Which items will you take? Okay, I've already addressed that. Anger or upset meter. So the directions here are telling you to use a tick mark to identify every time you become angry or upset based on your travels. For example, if you go to a gas station, someone calls you a derogatory name, place a marker below to keep track of hostile experience. So what exactly is a hostile experience? A hostile experience, if we come back up here, well, let's first determine with Ashley's. So if I come back down here, okay, so Ashley's is in the Greenbook as one of the gas stations, so they're friendly. But let's just say I wanted to go to Bob's. I go back here. I don't see Bob's listed at all. So Bob's is a gas station that is not going to be friendly. They are not listed in the Greenbook. So what is the downside for this particular section here? Well, you have to roll. As it's telling you here, these are the unfriendly encounter section. You can roll. I don't know if we'll be in the class, roll the dice, or you can just open up a Google dice simulator and roll 1. And for when you roll, that's going to determine what happens. So let's just say I roll and I get a 4. As I go to that gas station, someone has threatened to lynch me if I do not leave. So that seems to be a hostile experience. So I'm going to mark that down here. So if you haven't noticed, if I stop off 3 times, that means I'm rolling 3 times. If I roll a 6, I have to explain to my kids why the family is afraid. Think about how unpleasant that experience is going to be, explaining that to your child. If I get a 1, the person I'm paying refuses to take my money, and they demand that I place the money on the counter, and then they call me a racist slur. So that would be 3 additional tick marks. So for every time you do not veer off the path, you are running the risk. You have to roll, and that's going to determine what winds up happening. If you ever encounter this acronym, the acronym stands for Ain't No N-Words Allowed, and that definitely is an acronym that is going to be problematic, and you don't want to be caught in a sundown town where you see that writing somewhere on the side of a building. Bathroom options. If going out of your way is too far, you have the coffee can and you want to risk it, go to the bathroom. If you select this option, roll for the following outcome. So this one assumes that you have decided to park your car on the side of the road and you are going to relieve yourself in the can. You still have to roll. If you get a 1 or 2, nothing happens. A 3 to 4, someone notices and calls you a racist term. And if you get a 5, someone takes offense and stops and it leads to a physical fight. And if you roll a 6, nothing happens. So any of these negative encounters are going to add yet another tick mark into your upset meter. So that's pretty much the way that this game is played. Um, those are the directions for that. This is the car that you could use for your space. And like I said, just make sure you're adding the time. And if you haven't figured out, it definitely is going to be complicated. I am forcing you to either use the Greenbook, increasing your time, which makes you vulnerable, to the sundown town rule, or experience a hostile encounter by going to some of these unfriendly establishments. That's it.